parents should be very careful before they teach the children to hate Jews and to kill Jews.
Republican-controlled House Rules Committee has just voted to block the release of the Epstein files. Joining us now, the member.
There is a mega tsunami of end-time prophetic events that is racing towards humanity.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 5:30. I'm Rachel Cole. The Dragon Bravo fire burning near the Grand Canyon's North Rim expanded by 500 acres overnight, destroying many homes and historic buildings in its path, including the Grand Canyon Lodge. The National Park Service estimates between 50 and 80 structures have been destroyed. 12 News journalist Gabriella Becerra is live for us in studio tonight with what we're learning about the significant damage. Gabby.
Well, Rachel, some really heartbreaking images coming from the Grand Canyon National Park tonight. The Grand Canyon Lodge consisted of the famous main lodge that is known for its beautiful dining room views and more than 100 historic cabins. We've learned the Dragon Bravo fire destroyed these structures, and it continues to burn with zero containment tonight. Now, at 5,000 acres, fire managers are taking a full suppression strategy with retardant drops on the east side of the developed area. The fire is being driven by hot temperatures, low relative humidity, and continued strong wind gusts. Their goals are protecting lives of firefighters, preserving remaining structures, and safeguarding cultural and natural resources. Last night, firefighters were met by several challenges, including those strong wind gusts reaching up to 40 miles per hour. Firefighters were also forced to evacuate the area due to chlorine gas leak at a water treatment facility caused by the fire. I spoke with a tour guide on the south rim of the Grand Canyon, which remains open to tourists, but you could see the heavy smoke billowing across the canyon. He says it's a heartbreaking loss for the entire community.
Wild pigs in South Monterey County are showing signs of poisoning from a rodenticide found in agricultural fields.
I physically would watch these pigs intentionally come through fencing and gates and search for this rodenticide. I mean, they weren't going after anything else. They were specifically targeting these ground squirrel bait stations, which I thought was very unique.
The rodenticide, known as diphacinone, turns animals' fatty tissue blue.
So that's a clear signal to anybody who wants to eat an animal that they've hunted. If they cut it open, it's blue. You don't eat blue meat.
And it's not just one or two pigs.
From one particular property, we checked 12 or 13 pigs, and they were all blue on the inside.
The California Department of Fish and Wildlife confirming the poison's presence in one pig who was sent in for a toxicology panel.
The animal that came back positive for diphacinone exposure.
At this point, it looks like that poison could be from multiple locations across South Monterey County and along the Salinas River.
We mapped out a polygon of where we were seeing animals that were affected, and it's so large at this point in time. I suspect that these animals are moving up and down the drainage, having multiple points of exposure to the rodenticide.
While diphacinone use has been banned in California, agricultural sites are an exception to protect crops.
They're still able to be used in agriculture and industrial uses in some instances, but for the massive amount of the general population and government agencies, we can't use this anymore.
Concern is being raised for other animals who could now be exposed to diphacinone.
They're hard to regulate within the ecosystem, right? And they move throughout the trophic level, and they move throughout the trophic level, so they move throughout the food web. It can be fatal for a number of species, the non-target species. So I'm particularly concerned about birds.
The California Department of Fish and Wildlife is urging anyone who uses the poison to do so responsibly and follow all regulations.
China is currently experiencing one of the most severe and widespread heat waves in recent history, with extreme temperatures impacting a large portion of the country and creating significant challenges for infrastructure, energy supply, agriculture, and public health. The heat wave has intensified throughout July, driving electricity demand to unprecedented levels and prompting emergency responses across multiple provinces. Meteorological authorities have reported that at least 16 provincial capitals have experienced daily highs exceeding 35 degrees Celsius. A total of 29 national weather stations in provinces such as Shaanxi, Hubei, Sichuan, and Qinghai have broken previous heat records for July. In some high-altitude areas, including Tibet's Mongkong County and Xinjiang's Turpan Basin, surface air temperatures have climbed above 42 degrees, with automatic ground-level sensors detecting road surface temperatures of up to 73 degrees Celsius.
What does it mean when we've reached a point to where we're disguising the towers inside of crosses and churches, placing them over elementary school cafeterias, over high school football fields? In fact, this one has two, disguised as palm trees where you run your errands, in the parking lot of the grocery store where you buy the food you eat, on the side of almost every road and in almost every neighborhood. And the nicer the neighborhood, the nicer the fake tree. Or how about the random fluorescent lighting that's been popping up around cities that apparently requires more than a bulb, pole, fixture, and wiring? I believe this is us slowly consenting to the beast system, which has always revealed itself on the outskirts of the cities and subtly within, because even the double-cross power lines resemble the satanic Leviathan cross. The full Leviathan cross has a Ouroboros, which is a symbol that has surfaced along with many of the tech companies.
This storm isn't a once in a lifetime, it's a once in forever. I found some very weird stuff, but first, we have areas close to San Antonio now being flooded, around Austin, other rivers, etc. The death toll so far, as the number climbs every 30 minutes, so they find more bodies, is now 47. And now they're saying there's actually 27 young girls missing. Right here you see a post by New York Post detailing the whole camp and all that situation. And completely unrelated, not relevant whatsoever. At the same time with this hurricane tropical storm coming to the East Coast and this stuff happening in Texas, we have the Weather Channel doing a report on this. Their words.
Captain Hart rode in his longboat, but he and his co-pilots flew directly through the cloud and released dry ice into it. Then they descended to check if any rain would fall.
And again, completely unrelated, they just did this story a few hours ago again on the Weather Channel. The most insane part about this storm was the rising of the river by 26 foot in 45 minutes. I've never even heard of such a thing in my life. We have Texas officials blaming the National Weather Service for not being able to call this the way it was. We also have the National Weather Service months prior coming out and saying they can't detect things like they used to because of all the changes. You know, administrative, federal things have been changed. It's almost like it's the perfect situation for the perfect storm.
Look at your own forecast, and the amount of rain that fell in this specific location was never in any of those forecasts.
Now again, completely irrelevant, not related whatsoever. I'm just trying to get familiar with the area. Just 1 month ago, Kirk County citizens were all standing up saying we're not going to be having any lithium battery storage here. That they need to stand up, and you can read it.
Just days into President Trump's 50-day peace deal deadline, Russia issuing threats over America's support for Ukraine. The deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council saying, quote, "The statements of Western politicians on this topic are complete nonsense. We need to act accordingly to respond in full and, if necessary, launch preemptive strikes."
Meanwhile, top NATO leaders are working hard to get U.S. Patriot missiles to Ukraine.
Preparations are underway. We're working very closely with the Germans on the Patriot transfer, and the guidance that I've been given has been to move out as quickly as possible. Air defense is important on the modern battlefield, and we've seen the scale of recent Russian attacks against Ukraine, so it is a key focus area.
Here with more is U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matt Whitaker. Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us. So that comment about a potential preemptive strike by Russia into the West was by Dmitry Medvedev. How seriously is NATO taking something like that?
Yeah. Well, obviously, we take every threat seriously. NATO was built to deter and defend, especially against Russia. So, this is not surprising. But at the same time, I think this kind of reckless, threatening and even trying to suggest that nuclear weapons are an option, I think is, a very dangerous escalation. But, we're obviously prepared for any threat to the alliance, and we'll, make sure that we are always ready for any threat to the alliance.
Ambassador, I know you can't go into specifics, but since Trump announced the 50-day negotiation window, has Russia shown any willingness to negotiate at all? And do you think the transfer of these Patriot missiles will ultimately force Putin to the table?
Well, first of all, obviously, Ukraine needs to defend itself, and that's what President Trump has been clear about. Whether or not Vladimir Putin comes to the table and agrees to a ceasefire and ultimately negotiates an enduring peace in Ukraine, that's up to him. It's very clear that President Zelensky is ready to make a deal and has expressed that. But at the same time, we are providing the weapons necessary. Ukraine has identified Patriot systems and air defense as the most important thing on their list. And so obviously you heard General Grinkowicz, he's moving out on that. And there's a lot of other things that we're moving out on as well. And I think President Trump has created an urgency that we're all trying to meet right now here in Brussels and really across NATO and across the U.S. military.
Yeah,
just heard like fireworks going off, which was a bit weird because the festival only starts tomorrow. We went outside and there was just a big cloud of fireworks and smoke.
It's one of the biggest dance music parties in the world. Hundreds of thousands of festival goers flock to Tomorrowland in Belgium during 2 jam-packed weekends of live electronic dance music. But like many large-scale live music festivals, music is just one part of business at Tomorrowland. So we are walking into the festival. It is literally stepping into the world of tomorrow. The whole festival here is cashless. To make purchases, you'll need a wristband, which is also your ticket in. By the way, these wristbands, they can get pretty expensive. How much did you pay for that one?
I paid like €790.
That's a lot of money.
Concessions are valued in Tomorrowland's own virtual currency called pearls.
So the cost for popcorn is 3 pearls, which is about €5.
But forget carnival food like hot dogs and fries. Here you can get healthy options like organic salad from a local Belgian farmer, or frozen yogurt with fresh fruit. Or gourmet diners can enjoy a 3-course tasting menu from a world-class chef, while still dancing to the beats of a popular DJ. Music festivals like Tomorrowland are increasingly catering to a high-end audience with a wide range of luxurious add-on options.
Here in Dreamville, Tomorrowland guests can opt for a VIP experience with their own cabanas for the weekend. It'll set you back around €2,000, but you get your own bed, jacuzzi, and even a 24-hour reception desk.
I'm here live now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. We do want to get out to some of this breaking news coming into our newsroom here, courtesy of our partners, TMZ. Want to put this up on your screen, tweeting out from their account that the Tomorrowland Festival stage has been engulfed in flames, and there's several video images also floating around.
Nu is het hier lunch gedaan, ploft er ook in. Blauw is verkozen. Het is gelukkig nog in de stad.
Want to put it up there so you can see what's happening. Of course, this has several who were excited for the festival upset right now. So you can see the smoke is billowing there. But according to TMZ, it's unclear at this time how the fire started, but it left nothing for the artists to now perform on. So, of course, some of the big headline names, David Guetta, Martin Garrix, Swedish House Mafia, Steve Aoki, several other DJs and other stars were set to perform there in the city as well soon. But we do know ultimately that the festival was set to kick off in just a couple of days, but a fire broke out earlier today, taking the entire stage with it. And so at this point, you can see how large those flames and the smoke have gotten there in Belgium. Of course, Tomorrowland is one of those festivals that several people flock to from all over the world, really. But again, the stage there engulfed in flames. The vehicle is now circulating on social media, and fans of some of those music artists who were set to perform are upset. Tickets were already sold out for this event. So, of course, we know that the next steps will likely be some of those organizers maybe having to refund, or others are still going to be trying to figure out what comes next to this. TMZ says that they've reached out to organizers, but have not heard back at this time. But again,
just asked you how you thought about 20,000 children being killed by the IDF. So how do you feel about that?
I think that the parents should be very careful before they teach the children to hate Jews and to kill Jews.
No, that wasn't my question. That wasn't my question. Sorry to be persistent, but my question.
That was your question.
My question was, how do you feel? My question was, how do you feel? How do you personally feel about over 20,000 Palestinian children now being killed since October the 7th in Gaza? How do you feel about that?
I think that Arabs, Gazans, or Jordanians, or Syrians, whoever, should be very, very careful with the way they educate the children.
Yeah, that wasn't my question. That wasn't my question.
Many of them.
Can you answer my question?
Answer. That was my answer.
So you don't care? You have no thoughts about these children at all?
You choose your questions, and I answer them the way I believe is right.
But just to be clear, you have nothing to say about 20,000 children being killed. Nothing at all.
I have a lot to say about everything that happened as a result of the massacre of the 7th of October.
I understand you care about Israeli children who died, as do I. But I'm able to care about both sides of children who've died. Why don't you care, seemingly, about the Palestinian children who've died? Why can't you express any sympathy or sorrow or empathy with the children who've died in Gaza? Are you able to do that?
I warn all Arabs from all sides, from all borders, warn them, stop educating children to hate
So just to be
Jews.
clear,
Warn them. Stop educating children to hate Jews.
Just to be clear,
Greensboro police are investigating the death of a 2-year-old whose family says the child died after an incident at a dental office. The grandmother of that 2-year-old boy sent us this picture of the child. She says her grandson had an appointment at Valley Gate Dental Surgery Center in Greensboro this morning, but later died. WFMY News 2's Lauren Tier has more on how the family is looking for more answers.
So can you imagine as a mom, you bringing your child in to get dental work and not being able to carry him back down the road? Back home with us.
The family of 2-year-old Ermias Mitchell drove from Salisbury this morning when they heard the news of his death. They say he was here around 6 o'clock to get his teeth capped. His parents texted updates in a family group chat. The doctors gave him anesthetic medicine around 6:45. They say within 40 minutes, police and ambulances were at the facility, passing the parents in the waiting room. Family members say the parents were not told what was going on at the time.
She said and watched the ambulance ride by. She said she told David they need to go to ambulance and didn't know it was for him.
Guilford County EMS confirmed they dispatched 2 vehicles to the scene after receiving a call around 7:15. They then transported 1 patient to the hospital. Ermias' maternal grandmother, Kyra Smith, says she prayed to have him in her life. Now, she says the dreams she had have been shattered.
I don't wish this on my worst enemy. No family should have to go through what we suffered today. This is the worst traumatic experience I have experienced. Losing my child, my blood.
We reached out to the corporate offices of Valley Gate Dental, and we're expecting a statement from them in the next 48 hours. Yeah, this is an active investigation. GPD says they are not releasing any further details at this time.
I wanted to share a little bit about what's going on with Derek. When he signed up and had all of that done, he was told he would not be training for 2 weeks and going straight to the front lines, but it seems as though he's getting 1 more week of training and closer to the front lines, and then they are going to put him on the front lines. So we are all praying really hard that he could actually be utilized for his skills and not just be put as a fighter. Unfortunately, there was a few things not quite done that probably should have been done, and now we are believing in God that everything is going to work out to the way it's supposed to. He signed up in Nizhny to get less money because he was told they would have more control. At first, they were trying to petition that he would be able to be more like a news reporter, but like in the military, and being able to just like report what's going on, and just be able to like tell the world what's happening from his perspective and what he's seeing. And that was denied. So after the wait for all that, they then said that they would be able to put him in like a repair battalion because of his 10 plus years in welding and the experience for that. So he would actually be able to do that, and he would have the control to be able to be in a safer environment.
Wanted to make this video. I'm here in Nizhny at the Kremlin, waiting on someone. They're going to do an interview of me. I thought I would show you this amazing view. Very cool place. One day we'll have to bring the girls out here to visit. Look at this. This is called the Eternal Flame. Tamora was telling me all about it. Continuously burns all the time. As a tribute to people lost in the Great Patriotic War, I believe. Love you so much. Hello friends, Derek Huffman here. Wanted to let you know little updates, what's going on with me. I have joined the Russian military. I will be heading to the special military operation. Today I did all my medical exams, signed my contract in the morning, and I'm all clear to go. And I wanted to make a video talking a little bit about my motivations to help people who might think I'm crazy or not quite understand why, help put it in perspective to why I'm doing it, why it's important to me. Big reason I'm doing it is for the citizenship. So if I sign a 1-year contract and I go and serve it, my family and I all get Russian citizenship. Get it the regular way, it takes about 5 to 6 years. You go through temporary residency.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. He made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad. He's international.
Wow, Donald Trump was caught on video yesterday bragging to his billionaire friends and corporate owners how much money they made thanks to his stock market manipulation when he reversed his own tariff policy just as the market was hitting a new low. Take a look at this leaked clip from yesterday. This is disgusting stuff. So while you, your family, and millions of other working class Americans are stressed about the price of groceries, what goods are going to be more expensive thanks to Donald Trump's trade war, which is still very much alive thanks to his insane tariffs on China, Donald Trump is bragging in the White House about how much money his billionaire friends made. So there you have it. Donald Trump was never America first. He was never going to make your life great again. He's only doing this to support his friends and other wealthy billionaires.
The system is rigged. And the way the system gets rigged is that rich people rig the system for themselves. And that is exactly what's happening today with this bill and the 3 sets of crypto bills that are before Congress. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And the way they do that is by lobbying members of Congress, giving them campaign donations, mobilizing people in their districts to vote for scams like this bill. Just 2 weeks ago, this Republican majority passed the largest tax break in American history for the wealthy. That bill, the big ugly bill, will make the rich in this country 4% richer, while it makes the poor in this country 4% poorer. And it does that by stealing your health care, stealing food assistance, stealing housing, and stealing the fundamental support programs that make it possible for working families to survive in this country. But guess what? Donald Trump doesn't care, because he's a con man. He's happy to tell you that he's going to save you money on groceries while the cost of groceries is going up at historic rates. Just yesterday, the Consumer Finance Index showed that the cost of everything is up. The cost of housing, the cost of groceries, the cost of basic consumer goods. And why is it going up? Because of Donald Trump's tariffs and the policies that he's pushing through this Congress. And now, as part of his larger crypto crime scheme, he is pushing to pass these 3 bills that, guess what, are going to make him richer and make the American people poor. That's what this is all about. Now, how are they going to rig this system? They're trying to pretend like this is a regulation bill. This is absolutely about deregulating the crypto market, dismantling protections for consumers, weakening oversight, massive loopholes for the worst possible actors, like Donald Trump himself. And it would leave consumers unprotected, fraud unchecked. It would hurt and destabilize the economy. And yes, at the end of the day, it will hurt working families.
It would leave consumers unprotected, fraud unchecked. It would hurt and destabilize the economy. And yes, at the end of the day, it will hurt working families.
And we begin with breaking news out of Los Angeles. 3 deputies are dead in an explosion at a sheriff's department training facility. Attorney General Pamela Bondi, she posted on X just moments ago saying, "I just spoke to U.S. Attorney Bill Esselay about what appears to be a horrific incident that killed at least 3 at a law enforcement training facility in Los Angeles. Our federal agents are at the scene and we are working to learn more. Please pray for the families of the sheriff's deputies killed." Wow. And that is where we begin right now out of Los Angeles at that Sheriff's Department training facility.
The desk got a breaking news update on the story about this explosion at this LA Sheriff's Training Center in East LA. Our reporter Jeff Nguyen has just messaged me. He is now confirmed with a spokesperson for the LA County Sheriff's Department that tragically 3 deputies have been killed following an explosion here at what is the SEB facility at the training center. Now, SEB is LA County Sheriff's Special Enforcement Bureau. It's essentially their version of SWAT, what you would know as a SWAT team. So it's unclear if these deputies were part of the SEB Bureau or if they were just here at the training facility. But LA County Sheriff's spokesperson now confirms that they have had 3 deputies die as the result of an explosion. It happened in the parking lot. So this was an outdoor explosion, or at least it involves something in the parking lot. The vehicles in the parking lot do appear to be roped off just the right of where Sky Cal was looking. Now, we have a reporter on the way and a crew on the ground. This facility is being evacuated, and what we see here, what looks like multiple bomb squad units are on scene as well. We don't know what caused this explosion, but it happened just about 7:30 this morning, and this is in East LA on Northeastern Avenue. This is at the Vizcayas Training Center. This is a major training center for LA County Sheriff's deputies, and the SEB Bureau, the Special Enforcement Bureau, does have a facility here. When we get more information, we'll definitely bring it to you, but that's what we've got so far here at the desk. Unfortunately, 3 deputies died in this explosion.
And I know, Mark, we still have so many questions. We've learned now that these 3 deputies have died. This, of course, is a training facility, as you've been saying. We understand it opened earlier this morning, so it was functioning. Are we getting any hints as to whether this is some kind of training that went wrong or something more sinister?
No idea right now. I did talk to LA County Sheriff's headquarters. They are calling this an explosion. They don't say that there's any sort of criminal component to this. Okay. They don't have any information. They're not looking for anybody. There's not a search or any sort of a suspect here. Right now, they said they're in the preliminary part of this investigation. This explosion was loud enough that people indoors could hear it. There is also some evidence that there are shattered windows on those patrol vehicles down there in that parking lot.
Begin this morning at the White House, where President Trump is now saying he's authorizing the release of some materials from the investigation of the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. In a post on social media, Trump says he has directed Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony. This comes as a new Wall Street Journal report on Trump and Epstein's relationship is adding fuel to the fire. The article claims Trump sent Epstein a bawdy letter for his 50th birthday, which allegedly included a drawing of a naked woman. The president denied the allegations and is calling the letter fake, and he's now saying he will sue the news organization. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand has more on this and is joining me now from the White House. So, Natalie, can you explain to people who might not have seen this Wall Street Journal article what is in the report, what the allegation is, and what the president is saying?
Yeah, the president is calling this a fake story, and as you noted, threatening to sue the Wall Street Journal and owner Rupert Murdoch, who note has been an ally of the president in the past. In a new social media post within the last 30 minutes or so, he says he even looks forward to getting Murdoch to testify in the lawsuit, calling it or saying it will be an interesting experience. Now, as for this letter, CBS News has not independently seen or verified it. So what we have is this Wall Street Journal report alleging that a note from Donald Trump was included in an album of letters collected for Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal article, the letter bearing Trump's name was reviewed by the Journal, and it contains several lines of typewritten text framed by the outline of a naked woman. It goes on to say the letter concludes, quote, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Now, again, President denying this, saying this is fake, and he told the Journal that he doesn't draw pictures. It's not his language, not his words. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, weighing in, also said that the Wall Street Journal refused to show them the letter. But hours after this report, the president on social media said, based on, quote, the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Epstein, he's asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval, which the AG, Bondi, indicated she will seek to do today. Now, that is expected to take time.
It was actually even before that administration. Right. They've been running these files. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me, but especially you look at that, and so much of the things that we found were fake with me. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me, but especially you look at that, and so much of the things that we found were fake with me.
Treasury's Epstein file details, Mr. President, 4,725 wire transfers. Let me repeat that. 4,725 wire transfers, adding up to nearly $1.1 billion flowing in and out of just one of Mr. Epstein's bank accounts. If you ask me, that is more than 4,000 potential lines of investigation right there. Hundreds of millions more flowed through other accounts. That's even a lot more to investigate. The file shows that Mr. Epstein used multiple Russian banks, which are now under sanctions, to process payments related to sex trafficking. A lot of the women and girls he targeted came from Russia, Belarus, Turkey, and elsewhere.
Take a listen to how Trump's own voters are describing their own emotions right now on right-wing political call-in shows.
I feel really betrayed, and I feel really, really angry. We have a president who tells us to move on from Epstein because it doesn't matter. Are you guys still talking about this? Seriously? And yet he still talks about the 2020 election fraud. He talks about the Hunter Biden laptop. He talks about all this stuff from 5-6 years ago, and he tells us to move on from the Epstein trial or the Epstein case. People like me will not stop talking about this. I feel so betrayed and so angry. This is not what I voted for.
I'm concerned about being able to trust Donald Trump to keep his word. In his campaign, he said he was going to let us know all of the facts about this. And now he's saying, go away, don't pay attention to it.
These Epstein files, we were told that there was going to be released. There was this client list that was going to be released. And the fact that it's suddenly gone away and he's trying to gaslight us is like a punch in the gut to MAGA.
And the fact that it's suddenly gone away and he's trying to gaslight us is like a punch in the gut to MAGA.
Questions on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment's not agreed.
Chair, I'm kind of shocked by that. I will ask for a roll call.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Fishbach. No. Mrs. Fishbach, no. Mr. Norman. Yeah. Mr. Norman, aye. Mr. Roy. Mrs. Houchin. Mrs. Houchin, no. Mr. Langworthy. Mr. Langworthy, no. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott, no. Mr. Griffith. Mr. Griffith, no. Mr. Jack.
No.
Mr. Jack, no. Mr. McGovern.
Aye.
Mr. McGovern, aye. Miss Scanlon. Miss Scanlon, aye. Mr. Neguse. Yeah. Mr. Neguse, aye. Miss Ledger Fernandez. Miss Ledger Fernandez, aye. Madam Chair.
No.
Madam Chair, no.
The clerk will report the total.
5 yeas, 7 nays.
The noes have it. The amendment is not agreed to. And I think most of us believe what's appropriate will be released when it is time for the president to release it.
Well,
Thank you.
Madam Chair, the Epstein files concern issues of abuse of women and abuse of children. You know, as the chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus, you often see me raising issues that we need to address this. And not only that, but Republicans and the MAGA world have said they want to know about this. Your constituents want to know. So the question is, why are they not just releasing them? And I think it's a simple thing to do, and you're going to be asked to vote whether you require the release. That's going to be a simple vote. Will you require the release? Is there anything that needs to be hidden? If there isn't, then just release the files. Silence those who would question it. So every Republican on this committee should be able to easily vote yes. And with that, Madam Chair, I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Ledger Fernandez. Any further discussion?
Republican-controlled House Rules Committee has just voted to block the release of the Epstein files. Joining us now, the member of Congress who forced that vote, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California. Congressman Khanna, give us the latest situation with the House Rules Committee.
Well, it's very disappointing. I had a very simple amendment that the full Epstein files should be released. It went for a vote to the House Rules Committee. Jim McGovern, who is the ranking member for House Democrats, made sure that all 4 Democrats voted for the release. Ralph Norman, a Republican, actually joined with the Democrats, saying that there should be a vote on the full release. Chip Roy didn't show up for the vote, but 7 other Republicans blocked it. So as of now, there is going to be no vote tomorrow, up or down vote on whether the Epstein files should be released.
But this is not a once-off. The dams are 100% weapons against the old world structures. We've proven that. And it's been shown to a lot of people. And we will continue to do that. But today, I want to show that the dam itself is extremely powerful. It is there, and there are things going on inside the complex, within the walls. It has bizarre symbolism. They held a weird ceremony with the president even giving a speech, timing it all up to match with the stars at 8:56 p.m. This is not random. They know something. They have knowledge, and this is what they did. Before we go further, the possibilities. This place that we all live are endless. I'm not going to restrict the research to things that we can without a doubt prove. I'm going to continue to ask questions, and I'm going to continue to dig deeper, because this is when we find things. We all have to ask questions, like, what would the government need that much power for? Why are there buildings, places inside this dam that are restricted to even the workers? Why was there a weird ceremony at the dam? Why are there 2 winged figures sitting outside with Thuban written on the ground? Thuban, meaning snake or serpent. And we all know that serpent represents hidden knowledge. We have a compass on the ground and a location of possible sacrifice to turn the machine on. If they were just constructing a dam, none of this would be going on. They would just build the dam. They would never set the dam to a symbolic circle.
Is your Wi-Fi tracking you? This screenshot has been making the rounds recently. It's basically selling you a service to have Wi-Fi motion detection in your home without the use of motion tracking cameras or sensors. Wow. Amazing. And for the conspiracy theorists amongst us, aka educated people, this comes as no surprise whatsoever. What I mean is that they've had this technology and capability for a long time. Who knows how they've been using it? They can absolutely track where you are in your house using your Wi-Fi, regardless of if you pay for the service or not. It works by seeing what blocks the Wi-Fi signal, kind of like a heat map. And this is very similar to how bats use echolocation to fly through the air. And if Wi-Fi is beaming out these signals that are blasting into us and getting blocked, what else is that signal doing to our bodies? This is just another thing to be aware of in the increasing surveillance of this technological world. And another reason to turn off your Wi-Fi whenever you're not using it.
The last words of Lee Harvey Oswald. It wasn't me, it was the CIA.
Now, at first, it seemed like a throwaway line from a bad joke, but when you dig deeper, you realize there was a lot more meaning behind what Woody Harrelson's character was saying in this scene. You see, Woody Harrelson's father, Charles Harrison, was a legitimate hitman for the mafia who died in prison in 2007, where he was serving 2 life sentences. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because Charles Harrelson was also suspected of being involved in the assassination of John F. Kennedy. In fact, Charles Harrelson was one of the infamous 3 tramps arrested shortly after the assassination of JFK had taken place.
The tall tramp turned out to be Charles Harrelson, Woody Harrelson's father.
Charles Harrelson was very closely involved with criminals who had strong connections within the CIA, and he was an associate of Jack Ruby, the nightclub owner who ended up Lee Harvey Oswald before he had the chance to spill the beans. And what makes things even crazier is White Men Can't Jump wasn't the only movie connection between Woody Harrelson and his father. In the novel No Country for Old Men, Sheriff Ed Tom Bell referred to the assassination of a judge in San Antonio, Texas. Now, this event actually took place in real life, and the perpetrator was none other than Woody Harrelson's father. Remember those 2 life sentences he was serving? Well, it was as a result of him that judge in San Antonio. And in the movie No Country for Old Men, Woody Harrelson just so happens to portray a hitman from Texas.
Just how dangerous is it? Compared to what? The bubonic plague?
Which of course brings us back to this random out-of-place scene from White Men Can't Jump. Given everything we just talked about and all the connections between Woody Harrelson and his father, this scene becomes a lot more interesting.
But check this out. The last words of Lee Harvey Oswald. It wasn't me, it was the CIA. No,
Yeah. I got it.
Tonight, tragedy at a stop on the nationwide tour of the supposedly possessed Annabelle doll. One of the doll's handlers found dead in his hotel room at the age of 54.
Annabelle's next stop, guys. Augusta, Maine.
Dan Rivera, a lead investigator for the New England Society for Psychic Research, or NESPR, had been exhibiting the Annabelle doll around the country. His colleagues now mourning his death, writing, NESPR is devastated by his passing and is still coming to terms with this profound loss. The cause of death not yet revealed by investigators. The county coroner telling NBC that his death was nothing suspicious. Still, the decades of lore surrounding Annabelle causing a social media craze among those fascinated by the paranormal.
The Annabelle doll's handler, Dan Rivera, just died suddenly during a haunted tour.
Something his friend and fellow paranormal investigator Ryan Buell called out.
Dan Rivera was a human being and not a plot twist.
Annabelle recently made headlines when online rumors spread that the so-called demon doll had gone missing from its display case, usually secured by crosses and holy water.
The girl that he was with said that he was laughing about the doll when the motorcycle, just like the car, went out of control, hit a tree and killed him instantly.
Allegedly linked to decades of grisly deaths and paranormal activity.
The Annabelle doll is probably one of the most infamous dolls on the planet.
Tony Spera oversees the Annabelle doll. We spoke to him while the rumors were swirling back in May. He's the protege of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, depicted in the Conjuring movies by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga.
Every family's different.
I think that the movies really made the celebrity, if you will, of the doll flourish. The doll is something to be respected, not revered.
Online, people connected her supposed powers to fires and even recent jailbreaks.
I just want to show you guys that Annabelle is in the Warrens Occult Museum.
And it was back in May when Dan Rivera tried to ease fears that the doll had been stolen in a post on TikTok.
Annabelle's not missing. She's not in Chicago.
Spera and his group not connecting Rivera's death to anything paranormal, but previously answering my question.
What do you say to the skeptics here who might not really believe that this doll has anything evil inside of it?
No, in a way, I don't blame people for being skeptical. If people don't know about the demonic, it's very difficult to believe that these things are happening, but they do happen.
The tragic death reigniting concern and fascination with the paranormal, as organizers say the tour, already steeped in superstition, will continue on in Rivera's honor.
The tour, already steeped in superstition, will continue on in Rivera's honor.
Hundreds of earthquakes have been rattling Mount Rainier over the last 2 days. This is the largest swarm since 2009.
Reporter Lauren Donovan spoke with seismologists at the Cascades Volcano Observatory about what's actually going on.
I called the USGS Tuesday looking for some more information. I spoke with Wes Thielen. He's a seismologist there, and he said, hey, hold up. There could be some more activity, more quakes overnight. And sure enough, Wednesday, we woke up to that. So Wes is joining us now via Zoom. Wes, what are we tracking right now?
A swarm of earthquakes started at Mount Rainier, and a swarm of earthquakes are a grouping of earthquakes that are happening in the same space close together in time. And so we had an increase in activity, in seismic activity, up to about 26 events an hour.
This week, hundreds of small earthquakes have been detected at Mount Rainier, and this is the largest swarm of quakes in over a decade. But researchers say that this is normal behavior. Overnight, the U.S. Geological Survey also shared this graphic showing the earthquakes are really starting to die down to just a few small rumbles per hour. Como's meteorologist Stella Stun spoke with experts about the trends that they're seeing on the mountain.
Standing tall at 14,410 feet, Mount Rainier is the highest peak in the Cascade Mountain Range.
She's just really powerful, the way that she stands in the skyline.
An active stratovolcano covered in glaciers and ice, Mount Rainier is closely watched by the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, which monitors earthquakes in our region.
We woke up to lots of notifications that there were a lot of little earthquakes at Mount Rainier. We do detect seismicity regularly at Mount Rainier, so it's not out of the complete ordinary. However, seeing this many earthquakes in a short amount of time is unusual, but it's not unheard of.
PSNS says 9 earthquakes a month is normal. This is the largest swarm of earthquakes since 2009.
Don't freak out.
Swarms typically happen 1 to 2 times a year, but it's usually smaller in terms of the number of quakes. The last large swarm at Mount Rainier in 2009 had over 1,000 small earthquakes.
I'm sure most people are familiar with this man here, Nikola Tesla. A man of so many visions and talents that you could go on for days. But today, we're going to talk about his creation, Wardenclyffe Tower. Built in 1901, amongst other things, the main function of the tower was to transmit wireless power. But of course, the whole project was shut down and the tower was ripped down because JP Morgan pulled their funding. In the middle of last month, DARPA, with the project they've been working on since 2023, not only achieved that, but they set a record sending power to a remote location 5 miles away. Now, like I said, this is a project they've been working on since early 2023. Now, guess who's building the laser it takes to actually make this happen? Raytheon. And guess who's one of Raytheon's biggest stockholders? JP Morgan and Chase. The same people that stopped the tower from happening.
So did you know about this massive plan that Kerrville, Texas, which is having this unprecedented flood? There's a whole big plan to modify the entire city, change, and of course they use the word resilience. If you know anything about agenda, you know what? 2 numbers. You'll know that resiliency is a buzzword, which really means further control. But my point is that it's shocking that this place was set to have a whole change up, and now there's a flood going on. And many people will say, that's just a strange coincidence or nothing to be alarmed or be concerned about. And then we have this guy emailing Rainmaker Corporation, asking them if they modified the weather. Of course, that's not confirmed. We're not claiming that, but people are asking that because, just read that.
I will now go to voting because we have committee markups and other committees and people have to leave here soon. We'll go to Bovey's nomination. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Chairman, point of personal privilege.
Mr. Chairman, according to Rule 4 of the committee, we have the right to continue to debate this nomination. I'm invoking Rule 4 of the committee. We have the right to debate this nomination.
You're out of order.
I'm seconding Senator Booker's demand for a vote on his request to hear from the whistleblower.
Mr. Chairman, you should at least acknowledge my Rule 4 point of order.
You're out of order.
I don't understand this. What are you afraid of about even debating this?
By proxy.
Putting things on the record, hearing from every senator, dear God, that's what our obligations are. It's to state our reasons for debate. At least address the Rule 4 point of order that we're calling. There's no need to rush this. What are we afraid of? We're not pressing for the 2-hour rule like you all did when you were in the minority. We're simply asking for a credible amount of time to air our concerns before the vote. We respect each other in this committee. We respect the understanding that we have things to say. But yet we're doing this in a way that makes no sense to me, and it makes no sense to me because we're not trying to do things like force the committee to close or force a 2-hour rule. This is about understanding that people on this side have a responsibility to state their issues. Mr. Sir, you could call me out of order because this is out of order. This undermines the basic decency of this committee. Yes, maybe overrule a Rule 4, but at least address the Rule 4 point of order that senators were elected to debate issues and debate nominees. This is absolutely insane.
Hey,
What is the rush? Sir, I am interrupting because you're interrupting a regular point of order. At least address my point of order. I have the right to do that by the rules of this committee. If you want to overrule the rules of committee, then do so. But this is not in any way in order. You are obligated to address a point of order according to the rules of this committee. You could overrule me by a Senate vote. You're violating your own rules. The parliamentarian has been clear about this.
So we are hearing the phrase constitutional crisis. Will the president drive the nation full steam ahead into a constitutional crisis? There have been so many unconstitutional and illegal actions in the first 18 days of the Trump presidency. We've never seen anything like this.
Democrats to keep calling it a crisis, a constitutional crisis.
We really do have a constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
The constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis. The constitutional crisis.
A constitutional crisis.
That is a genuine constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis. A constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
May be headed for a constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis. Is this a constitutional crisis?
In the same way, God, as I'm talking to you right now this morning, there is a mega tsunami of end-time prophetic events that is racing towards humanity. And that the only warnings we have against that mega tsunami of apocalyptic events that is speeding towards humanity is the prophetic warnings of the Word of God. It was this week while I was in New York with one of my staffers. He told me that he's been having dreams of end-time apocalyptic events long before I got to this text in Matthew. He is among thousands of people all around the world, hear me, right now as I'm talking to you, who are having dreams of end-time events and dreams of apocalyptic events, and they are posting about these events on social media from all around the world. I believe, hear me, it is my personal opinion that God Almighty is doing everything He can in this hour to warn as many people as possible that a mega tsunami of end-time apocalyptic events is coming for the United States, is coming for the nations of the world. He is warning people through proclamation. He is warning people through His word. He is warning people through His Spirit. He is warning people through dreams and visions. And if there are any people on the planet that should be alert in this hour, that should be warning in this hour, that should be engaged in what's happening in this hour, if there's any people that should be the guardian of that message, if there are any people on the earth that should be paying attention to the times that we live in, it is the people of God.
If there's any people that should be the guardian of that message, if there are any people on the earth that should be paying attention to the times that we live in, it is the people of God.